Geez. Recording is in progress. Okay. Well, I'm still pulling my brain together. So,
Yeah, well, I've got my big can of Godzilla energy, so
oh, that's much better. I just have bottle of water, so less exciting.
I mean yours is better for your long-term health.
Luke, have I told you a story before about the first time getting Genki drinks in Japan?
No.
It was myself and one of our was Scott, who's, well, I'm saying this for Stewart, but it's been on the podcast before. But this is God, like 2000, about the time this movie came out. We were like, oh, let's get the really expensive Genki drink because it'll get you like really Genki. And we go in and get, it's like the like 1,000 yen, $10 was at 5 or 6 pounds Genki drink. Get it, walk right out of 7-Eleven and drink it. And we realized later the thing's called Bing Bing. So what the guy at the 7-Eleven saw, which means erection in Japanese. So he saw two dudes kind of bounce in, buy the erection drink, walk right out of the store, slam it, like kind of walk off. Yeah. So that guy, he probably had some thoughts, would be my guess.
Let me write this down. Erection drink.
Oh, come on, half the podcasts in the land, advertise that stuff now.
Mm.
The ones that advertise do. Well, I guess we'll roll. Your year's 2003, if I'm not
Oh no,
mistaken.
I've got a year ready.
He's got a different year. Okay.
Okay, everyone ready to go?
Yeah.
In the year 2022, an infamous nonce was resurrected because someone else went to hell.
An infinite. Who is that? Am I dreaming? Am I about to get slashed in my dream?
No, I was referring to Prince Andrew being resurrected because his mum went to hell.
Hey.
Prince Andrew gets resurrected. I'm completely lost.
Prince Andrew is an infamous nonce.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
because everything's being obscured by the fact that the Queen died, he's suddenly been allowed back into loads of royal duties and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like the king in waiting or something.
He's like what, eighth in line or something. Although it's not like,
No,
yeah. I don't know.
If Charles has to go and do some like Charles stuff abroad or whatever, nonce Prince Andrew takes over for a bit. So we get ruled by an actual like pedophile, which is funny.
Well,
for Britain, it's completely appropriate for that to happen.
I mean, I'm sure it's happened plenty of times, behind the scenes. But usually they have the decency to cover it up.
I would be surprised if there was a single member of the royal family who wasn't an active nonce.
It's like that
dangerous nonce.
It's amazing. There's the aristocrats joke. Comedians are supposed to tell it to each other and just be as foul and as horrible as possible. But yeah, somehow that stuff seems worse.
Well, it's the aristocrats joke, except at the end, they say this is not a joke. I'm describing the actual actions of the British royal family.
Right. That's
yep.
Hey, I'm an American. I don't care. We can just take a big crap in the pot and let it simmer and see what happens.
Yeah, why not?
Hi, we might as well put our names on this then. It is Matt.
This is Luke.
It's a sci-fi sanctuary.
I wasn't sure if I was meant to introduce myself then.
I was going to give you a cool intro, but no, go on, just check yourself in there.
You were going to give me a cool intro. Now I'm going to wonder for the rest of my life what it could possibly have been. Hi, I'm Stuart Gipp. I'm quite overweight and balding.
How is the intro going to be different than that? Was that
I don't know.
what you were going to say?
I don't think I'm allowed to just say that about our guests. Hey everyone, today we're joined by Stuart Gipp. He's quite overweight and balding.
That's completely an inappropriate thing to say.
Depends what direction it's bopping from, but we can say inappropriate things because I guess it's a gleefully inappropriate movie today, being 2003's Freddy versus Jason. I'll out myself right on the top that I'm 100% team Freddy, but I think I've kind of mapped that out on this podcast before.
I mean, it would be difficult not to be Team Freddy, considering that the Friday the 13th movies are basically all horrible. The Nightmare movies, only a couple of them are like completely unwatchable. I think, if even that, there is at least some kind of visual something to carry you through to the end. But the Friday movie is just bollocks. Apart from, I'm going to quote controversy. The only one I like is the remake, the Platinum Dunes remake. For some reason, it turned out to be really fun.
I do have some positive memories of a few Friday the 13th films. I'm really not disagreeing with you, but people would about last time I was living in the States, people would visit, and I think on more than one occasion we'd pop on the cheap 3D glasses and watch Friday the 13th Part 3, which
See,
is
that sounds fun.
terrible. It's in terrible 3D and is actually the origin of the hockey mask. The hockey mask not being in the first two movies, and then seeing Jason Goes to Hell back in day in the theater, and the entire theater spending the entire time screaming at the movie, and it was just a fantastic viewing experience.
Yeah, that does sound fun. And I also don't mind the one where he goes into space. That's quite fun.
Oh, of course. Every franchise has to have a good going in a space movie, but the Nightmare movies, on the other hand, as kids, myself and another recurring guest here, Andrew, we'd watch like the entire series. Well, that existed to that point, like every other week. So,
slightly troubling. Slightly troubling.
The first four in particular, I've seen like an insane number of times.
Because people say, Luke, Nightmare on Elm Street, it's not really a dumb slasher film. It's something a bit more interesting and cool.
Yeah.
Whereas the Friday the 13th series, no, it's just a dumb slasher film.
I think it takes this movie, Freddy versus Jason, to make Jason kind of cool. There are a couple of set pieces that I really like with him because they do play into his just kind of unstoppable Terminator fucking machete shit. But we'll get to that, obviously.
I mean, there's some very Terminator scenes.
The weird thing for me is that this was the first movie I saw from either of those series, so I just skipped right to the end. Basically, I'm like, why bother with the interim when I could just see Freddy fight Jason?
There is something to that. Like from my end, I had a weird viewing of this one. This came out the summer I was working on like a tiny island in Canada. So once a week I'd put my car on the ferry and go to the St. John's. St. John, it's one of those two. They're actually two different places. But yeah, what did I do? So I was outdoor all week. So on my day off, I just spent going into the mall and watching this movie by myself in a Canadian theater some like Thursday afternoon.
The optimal experience, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was this and Finding Nemo. Those are ones I have specific memories of watching. Not.
It's like a double feature. Disappointing.
Weirdly enough, they both have a similar body count.
Technically,
think about it.
Yeah.
Which one has actually scarred more children? There's something.
Probably Nemo. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, some kids will get spooked by just like, oh, there's an orange fish. I'm going to start crying, right? So
that does sound kind of scary.
And the fish talk as well. Horrible.
And they got human teeth, probably, or something.
So when Finding Nemo came out when I was in secondary school, and I knew a kid who was really into fish, like an aquarium kid. Yeah. And we watched Finding Nemo in, I guess, like, end of term watching a film bullshit. And there's a bit where, like, Marty picked something up and he just shouts, "They can't bend their fins that way." So I guess it scarred him.
Yeah. See, that's my point. Like, I mean, not that many families took a trip to see Freddy versus Jason. A few, I'm sure, but for me, it was a very solitary experience, which I could have screamed at the movie. It would have been fine. Nobody else was in the theater.
I watched it on a pirate video in black and white, and it ran at about it was like a slideshow, like flickery frames per second. I didn't even know what it was. It was a terrible cam version. And I loved it. I thought it was great. And it got even better when I saw that the movie was actually in color and ran at the correct speed.
It's a real movie and not just a fever dream.
Yeah.
I feel like it adding to it a little bit, though, having a weird black and white forbidden version.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I the same person. It was it was in Cambridge. They used to off Mill Road is like the main sort of cosmopolitan road in Cambridge, and there used to be this little junk shop around the back, down one of the back alleys. And he had these pirate videos he would sell for like £1 each or whatever, and it was just like a VHS tape that he just stuck a label to that just said like Kill Bill or like Freddy versus Jason, or most memorably was the Guinea Pig parts 1 through 6. That was a fun evening. So I ended up sort of having all of these, and then one day I went back there, and the guy who ran it was on his phone, and he was just kind of going like, "No, I told you, I'm out of the game. I don't do it too much, too risky, mate, too risky." And I was like, "I'm funding a good person here, doing good work." And then he was gone forever, and so was my access to hooky copies of disgusting Japanese underground cinema.
Where did the guinea pigs go?
The guinea pigs, I still have them. I'm looking at them right now.
They never go out of your mind.
I took that they don't know, because they're the first thing you see when you put that tape in after the standard sort of black sort of entrance is like a needle going into an eyeball with really loud drilling sound. It's just incredibly jarring.
Damn.
Just really upsetting films. I wouldn't recommend them. Then Guinea Pig 2 is the famous one because I think it was Charlie Sheen saw it and thought it was real and like called the FBI or something.
Charlie Sheen thinks everything's real.
Might be Martin. It was one of the Sheens, probably Charlie. I think it was Charlie though. He probably just did a massive bump of coke, and he was like, "Fuck this! This is real snuff."
I think, what did I get most disturbed by? Oh, once I watched Star Trek: The Motion Picture while somewhat wasted, and I got like really paranoid about. I got like McCoy paranoid about going to space. I was like, "Why are they here?
Yeah.
This doesn't even make sense." That was fun.
That would be horrible. Is it horrible to even imagine the idea of going to space? Really?
And then it's all bending on you and sending asteroids to destroy you in your direction, and yeah.
If someone was like, "Stu, do you want to go to space for free? You'll be completely protected. Like you're in a spaceship, guaranteed that you won't die. You just want to go and have a look at space." I'd just be like, "No, no."
You stare into the abyss; it stares back at you.
No, what do I don't want to go to space. For what possible reason? What's good about that?
It's cold.
It's like look down at Earth. You're insignificant. Oh, great. No, I got to go back to that. Thanks for that.
I get that feeling all the time when I'm on Earth. I don't need it from space.
Yeah. Look in a mirror. Oh God.
Hey, Luke.
That's accidentally see a reflection in the toilet. Oh no.
You told us about your Finding Nemo experience, but not your Freddy versus Jason experience. Was this your?
I watched it for the first time yesterday, and I started watching it on the train, and the first thing you see is a pair of tits, and I was like, maybe I won't watch this on the train.
Now you're a real salary man.
It's a tremendous opening for a film, as far as I'm concerned. I love this movie. I like, and ironically, I think this is a really entertaining movie. I wouldn't call it good, really, but it knows what the audience wants, and it gives.
I was gonna say, yeah, in a certain sense, this is a perfect film.
I love it. Ronnie Yu, Bride of Chucky, absolute legend.
If you're going to see a film called Freddy versus Jason, this delivers what you would want from that film.
Yeah, I'd be like, man, I hope Freddy and Jason have a fight in this movie.
Yeah, right.
They are brilliant. Well, there we go.
I mean, they could have fought a little more.
5 bags
really.
of popcorn. Yeah,
I want to see some Freddy stuff, and I want to see some Jason stuff, and goddamn, we did.
Yeah, I think this movie just goes really hard. It's great. It's enormous fun. There are so many sequences that just make me filled with joy. It's a cheesy stuff that's just hilarious, like the opening credits where someone just throws a bucket of blood at the wall and this ridiculous song starts playing, and it's Spine Shank or something, like just metal. It's ridiculous. I love it. The opening with as you mentioned, the pair of tits. Just like you're there, you've sat down. It's 10 seconds into the film, you're already bored. You're already angry. You're like, for God's sake, and then immediately breasts. And it's like fantastic.
I think this is kind of the point where like genre of filmmaking started to give up on PG-13, because around the year 2000 there were a lot of films where like, oh, let's try and like widen the audience, please try to keep it PG-13, so you get these like watered down horror movies and a few other ones that really should have been ours. On this one, this was the one that really stood out and said, "Hey, folks, sometimes a movie needs to be rated R, and it needs to have tits in it." And
Well,
that's
it's
blood.
worth. I mean,
That's what
this was before all cinema became bad. This was before 2007 when Room. What's that Stephen King movie? Room 48, 408 or something.
was that John
Uh,
Cusack?
yeah. Chat fellow in a room having a bad time. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but that was the first movie. That was the first bad movie ever.
Mm.
No, obviously it wasn't, but it was the movie that like made horror movies look bad. It was like digital horror. Now there's no more atmosphere, and there never will be again.
I think I'm gonna put that pivot right on Cabin Fever and Hostel. That's where the key goes in the door and kind of changes to torture porn.
I
You
mean,
know,
agreed on one
Saw.
hand, but
What year was Saw?
2000, don't know, but I love Saw.
Yeah, but that would have been. I mean that's a good movie,
The
but
first
that
Saw, but
also.
then it's the sequels is where it gets really
Awesome. Yeah, every single one is flawless. The most excited
Whoever
I've ever
thought
been,
was Saw.
the most excited I've ever been in the cinema by anything, is watching Saw the final chapter with a friend of mine who'd seen basically all the Saw sequels with him, following the absolutely bollocks plot the whole way through. And then there's a reveal right near the end. I'm sort of reticent to spoil it, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter, so I'm going to spoil it.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Hoffman, who's like the final apprentice of Jigsaw, gets bonked on the head by more Jigsaw like pig people, and the doctor from the first movie like steps out and takes his like hood off, Dr. Gordon, and me and my friend we actually had like the Daigo Street Fighter 3 reaction. We went absolutely insane. Because it was like the perfect fan service. Just like, look, it's that guy from the first one. He's back. Yeah, we're not very demanding people.
You were like those people in the YouTube videos of every single Marvel scene in every single Marvel
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. Yeah, we were like, it's like when Captain America picks up Mjolnir. We were just like, oh.
Because having grown up in the UK and then moved to Japan, I've never been in a theater like that. So I always assume those people are doing it for show.
Well, yeah, they are. When I saw Americans, maybe not, because I don't think, with respect, I don't think they have control of their emotions. But in the UK, when I saw Infinity, whatever the final stupid Marvel movie was, Endgame, Infinity Endgame, End shit, I don't know. And when that happened, some people pretended to be excited, but they were doing it in a really British way. So they were just basically going like, "Oh, look at that! That's good, isn't it?" And I just was like, behave.
Well, that just happened.
Oh, I have to clarify. I have been to films like that at the film tent at Glastonbury Festival, but you can forgive everyone there because they're off their tits.
When I saw Snakes on a Plane, it was like that because I saw the first showing of the first like when it was this huge meme.
Oh yeah.
And everyone was going absolutely insane and yelling at the screen. It was enormous fun.
Yeah, I just watched that one like on this computer that I'm doing this podcast on, so I lost that element, I guess, which is too bad.
You have to yell at your computer, I suppose.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll take the time to go ahead and spoil this movie, which you should know anyway. And what are you gonna spoil in it anyway? It's got knives and slashing at ghouls.
I guess the only thing you can spoil is who wins, Freddy or Jason. Place your bets.
Whoever wins, we lose. Oh,
yeah,
no, that's the other one.
There's a great burn one.
There's a deleted scene on this movie that they should have put in because it's so crap. Where the final girl, whose name I can't remember the names of any characters in this movie apart from Freddy and Jason.
They're irrelevant.
Freddy and Jason were fighting, and she literally just stands there and screams, "It's Freddy versus Jason. Place your bets." Like, why would you say that? They should have left it in. It's hilarious.
Absolutely should have left that in.
Let's see who's in this movie. There's crazy
Freddy,
white boy,
Jason,
crazy ginger boy, white girl
Destiny's
one.
Child.
I'm gonna say there is Kelly Rowland. You've got to say that.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Kelly Rowland.
Good point. There's
they're not Beyonce from Destiny's Child.
Yeah, but well, there's some ups and there's some downs in your career. This would be her up.
Did anyone name the third one?
It's an amazing up.
No.
I have somewhere out there's a picture of me with Destiny's Child, but I didn't keep it.
No, but
that's the ultimate power move.
Can name the third one. No one. Even the third one isn't sure sometimes.
They seemed kind of programmed. It was weird. It was when I had to take pictures of everything for my university, like every event they had, and drive the people around, and they weren't mean or anything. They were just like not there. So I guess that's what touring does. That or MK Ultra.
Yeah,
Maybe a combination of the two. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm
Bit of
serious.
DMT.
Oh yeah, I think that was Vertical Horizon. They had set up like some weird harem in like the pool's locker room. That was weird. Sorry, that's a band nobody remembers now, but they used to be they could afford like a harem or something back in the year 2000.
Wait,
So
which
good for them.
band was this?
Vertical Horizon. They had a number one
Yeah,
hit in the
no.
States, and like they're one hit wonder. They
What
weren't
was what genre? What genre are they?
like shit rock.
Oh, not like new metal or like
No, not even new metal. They were just shit rock.
because that
They
would
were
be good.
that
Okay.
that would fit this movie a little more, I'm sure. I did,
Oh,
yeah, I did read Robert Englund's autobiography this year, so that was
oh
fun.
yeah. Chapter 8, Freddy versus Jason. Making Freddy versus Jason was the best time of my life. I was so happy.
That's
Me,
pretty much what
Robert
it said.
Englund,
That's pretty
getting to
much what it
don the
said.
famous makeup.
No, that was the part he didn't like.
Mm.
I mean, you wouldn't like that. That sucks, you know. No, he was
Well,
basically like,
why didn't he just burn? Why didn't he just like mutilate himself so it wouldn't be necessary anymore? Like, why didn't he just look like Freddy in
exactly.
real life? No one's going to cast him as anyone else, for Christ's sake. He might as well just like Freddy himself.
Well, he was in the Mangler, and sometimes he has to play pre-burnt Freddy, right? So, well, then you could put makeup on him
Oh
for
yeah,
that,
Yeah,
I
I
like
forgot
guess.
about Freeburn Freddy flashbacks and that. Yeah, to add the important backstory of the 10,000 Maniacs or whatever it was.
Well, that's like 30 seconds where they could put makeup on him, and then he can be
Mm.
burnt the rest of the time. There's a the Human Giant sketch show has one where it's like the Star Trek Stargate style show, and the guy who plays the alien is tired of it, so he does finally get himself like like plastic surgery into looking like the alien. In the next day, like the show's canceled, so it shows him trying to find new jobs and like romances and stuff, but he looks like a
Mm.
freaky alien now. But hey, that could make a lot of movies better, really. So if I want to
Agreed.
watch most rom coms, I could
yeah, they would be
do it from
improved if
there.
there was just a Klingon for no reason.
Well, if what's his name, Christian, it was Christian Bale who lost all that weight for the Machinists, I think.
Mm.
If he can do that, then England can Freddy himself. He can get burned badly, I think.
He was in a Mangler. I'd like to bring that up sometimes.
Yeah, you brought it up
Yeah,
already. We just
he
sort of ignored you.
mangles. What do they do? Mangle shit? Is that the main thing of the mangler? Just mangle shit.
Yeah, it's like a like an industrial laundry
Right.
press
He comes
machine,
up to you
and
and he's like, "Get in that mangler," and you're like, "No." And he's like, "Please get in the mangler."
no, it doesn't. No, it's in a room. You have to basically go to the mangler and decide, I'm gonna get into this and see what happens, and then you get
So
mangled.
he's like, "Hey, I've had a really amazing idea. Why don't you come in this room and get in this machine?" And they'll be like, it
There's,
looks like it's some kind of mangler.
there's
Is he gonna
candy
mangle?
inside. There's
Is he gonna
candy
mangle me?
inside.
And he's like, "No, absolutely not. Absolutely not."
You know
So you're
what?
like, "Well, okay."
I won't even tease you. There's straight up chocolate in there. It's not like hard candy or anything. It's the
Mm.
good stuff in that mangler. All you need to
And
do is get inside. That's it.
here,
I'm pretty sure
dairy
that's
milk,
the dialogue
Cadbury's
of the
chocolate,
movie.
proper Cadbury's chocolate as well. And you're just like, well, I mean, on the one hand, I could just go and buy some chocolate right now, 10 seconds away. Or on the other hand, I could climb into this machine that clearly resembles an industrial mangler that could do real significant damage to my internal organs and bones.
If
And
it's
I'm
one
going
of
to go with the
those,
latter because, well, that's the TikTok generation, isn't it?
Yeah, bloody
well, if it's
kids.
Straight in
one
the
of those,
mangler. Have you ever seen one of those TikToks where the kids get in the mangler? It's a
Oh,
new craze.
the amount of my students have had to stop getting in manglers.
Yeah, you have to announce, excuse me, if this goes out to the whole like students and faculty, could you please stop getting in industrial sized manglers with Robert Englund and destroying yourself
I
for
should have,
clicks?
I should have stopped them installing the mangler, but
Mm.
I didn't think the kids were going to get into it.
Yeah,
if the
the 8 week
Cadbury,
installation process. At no point you was like, hey, well, I don't know about this.
you think you'd catch it? I don't know if the Cadbury chocolate in there were that nougat egg that you can only get around Easter, and it's not Easter. You couldn't just
Oh
go buy
yeah,
it. So of
the
course you
Cadbury
get a
cream egg,
mangler.
yeah,
Yeah, those
yeah,
are
the cum filled
awesome.
egg, yeah.
And and Who? This is a new Jason in this movie, is it?
Does it
It's
matter?
I mean,
Ken
you
Ken
got
Ken Kersinger, I believe, who plays him.
okay.
But it doesn't
Oh,
really matter because all he has to do is sort of walk at you.
yeah, he doesn't.
Walk ominously.
Yeah.
You think
Though
of
I'm gonna give him a shout out because this is probably my favorite Jason look. Not that there's a huge amount in it, because frankly, the hockey mask is just cool. It just looks awesome.
Mm.
But I like Jason in this movie. They give him more fun, silly stuff to do, like that sequence where he's on fire in the
Oh
sort
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
cornfield, and he's just walking through it, just killing everyone while being on fire. I love that scene so much. It's so silly. First of all, he puts that massive spike through the two teens, and then he throws one of them like it's a freaking field goal or something. Then he's just walking around, turning people's heads backwards, macheting everyone. He's just great in this movie. He's really just a fantastic serial killer.
it does kind of retroactively make the Friday 13th movies a little crappier because he generally doesn't get this, like you said earlier, Luke,
Yeah,
Terminator like, right? Where here he so I mean
yeah.
there is something to the acting in this. I mean, yeah, there's no acting, but you gotta move right, you know? Like if
hmm
he slouched a little bit, it wouldn't work, that sort of thing. Or you gotta slouch in
There's
the
just a
right way
few more
because he
little
is
bits of
all screwed up.
personality, a few more little looks, a few more little bits of kind of like there's something there. It's just nice and quite funny. They turned him into somehow more of a character than just kind of the force of nature. I mean, there are so many. I like another scene I love is in the asylum when he just bisects Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah,
He cuts the
that was
character who is
great.
literally just Jay with no differences. They just didn't change him, and he just bisects him, and it's the funniest thing in the whole film.
And his top half just
One
like
shot.
spins
Yeah,
away.
it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
incredible. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite deaths in any like horror movie. It's amazingly funny.
Is it just the fact that this is Jason being made with the sense of humor of a Freddy movie?
Yeah, I think more or less. Yeah. Plus Ronnie Yu, who did Bride of Chucky, he knows how to make funny
Mm.
horror because Bride of Chucky is great as well for different sort of reasons. But yeah, this is a movie that's full of funny stuff. Like it obviously, like okay, if you sat down on a swing bench next to your dad and his head fell off and landed in your hands, it would be horrifying. But obviously, in this movie, it's incredibly funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only
Uh,
reaction is to run around naked in the rain screaming to that. So I get it, especially if you're yeah, you have the things to show.
that
Do you?
first death is so funny. But the guy in bed just getting
And then he
mashed.
just folded and
Yeah, and then they fold. There's no reason to do that other than just that tiny little bit more grotesquerie.
Yep.
It's extremely fun. I love it. It's what a wonderful film. I wish I could. I don't know what Ronnie did after this. I don't know if he made any more movies.
It didn't
I'm
look
gonna have
like
to
he
find out.
made. Yeah, he didn't make that many films, and this might have been his last.
Oh man, that's such a sad thing. He could
Really?
have been.
Because we were, we were like, oh no, it's Craven, that sucks it. But we were like, okay, he did Bride of Chucky. That's solid. That was a great movie.
Yeah, it looks like he made some
Because
more, but he made some more sort of Hong Kong movies, I believe.
He made some like Jet Li movies and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
that
Edge,
Cool.
absolute edge.
that counts as a career, I believe.
Yeah, so he came over to the West, made like Bride of Chucky and Freddy Jason, then went back to making Hong Kong films.
Yeah,
What
he
then?
came in. He went, well. I've achieved like everything I could ever hope to achieve in American cinema, or anyone could ever hope to achieve in American cinema. I have finished American cinema. I have culminated it. I'm going back to Hong Kong to culminate Hong Kong cinema. Like this is like the Citizen Kane of like stupid slasher movies by far. Clearly,
I'm thinking about that statement. I really do love this movie. I'm because I am thinking maybe my ultimate Freddy death is still Depp death in the first movie. That's just this, blood geyser.
yeah,
what
and
or is
you
it
get
in
Do we even
this
get to
you
see
do.
movie?
that in this?
Yeah, they show it at
Well,
the beginning and the fantastic compilation of
the clip show
deaths while
doesn't
Robert
clip show
England is
doesn't
screaming
count.
over it.
We need yeah. We need the original deaths, I believe. So anyway, I do agree the bisecting is great.
I think that's the one
The
thing I can
party scene
criticize.
where he just the party scene where you just kind of like, we get quick succession of wonderful, on-screen deaths, and like you can't even keep track. He's just too busy in
Yeah,
that scene.
too many. It's so funny. It's like it's just doing it because they're there. That's what makes it so hilarious to me. Just like, I'm gonna kill you, and you, whatever. Who cares? And you.
Just keeping his combo up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think the one thing I could criticize about this movie really is, while Freddy is great in it, he doesn't really get many proper dream like sequences. There's like two, and one of them is interrupted.
That's true.
Because if he was just doing that straight away, what do you even need Jason for, right? So
yeah,
he's got his
it's true, but
dreams. It's like
it would still be
exactly
cool if
where it's going, but
if he got to do it. But he does it to Jason, I guess. So that's something.
like we get it. It's like a cock tease, right? We see exactly where it's going. You can play the rest of the scene out of your mind, and like one of the previous movies, it's just we can't go there yet, so we turn that off. So yeah, I get that. Maybe that's why they show you all the previous deaths at the beginning. I don't know.
This film comes from like a different time in terms of crossovers, because crossovers used to be the coolest shit in the world when it was just like these two things share a vaguely similar space in pop culture. Wouldn't it be cool if they met? Whereas now crossover is we own all these properties and we want to show it off.
I mean, this film was in development hell for a really, really long time. I think they went to like 4 scripts or something.
Like 15 years or something, yeah.
And
pretty
finally,
sure it's a different one to start with.
Yeah, but the concept of Freddy versus Jason, at least.
I mean, it was teased at the end of God, I want to say Jason.
It's Jason Goes to Hell, I think, where the glove.
Yeah, the last thing you see is the Freddy glove pull the mask into the ground, which is awesome, by the way. And then it didn't happen for another that was like 91 or 2 or something. It was early 90s, I'm fairly sure.
That's right.
And we had to wait that long. God, we had to wait that long for this to happen. It must have been a hard time. No, when there was no MCU, do you remember that very sad time when there was no Marvel Cinematic Universe?
The 90s sucked.
It was awful. Yeah, every movie you watch, you're like, oh god, they're doing different jokes and like they look good. This is awful. I hate this.
I don't understand.
The MCU comes out.
Did all the other films I saw this year also happen in this film? I need clarification.
It was confusing. And then finally we get to the Marvel movies and it's just like, oh yeah, sweet. All cinema is the same now. The dead life form is literally dead. I love it. Let's go. Oh man, I hope Iron Man like raises his eyebrow. Oh, he's done it.
Iron Man.
I don't like the MCU very much.
I hope this episode's being listened to by like MCU fans and royalists. And
they're
just
the worst.
Boiling in their seats.
I can't imagine being both of them. Imagine being both of those things. It's just like, oh man,
they probably go together quite
well.
I
bet you.
I like the things I'm told to like. It is pretty common.
They should do Freddy versus Jason versus like, I don't know, Taika Waititi or something. And yeah, Taika doesn't make it very far into the movie, sadly.
Well, apparently they were working on Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
Yeah, they were.
But it ended up just being a comic book.
Yeah, and it wasn't great. I think they were trying to bring Michael Myers into it as well. I think you can
then you are getting into some MCU territory at that point.
Have the
I think you can get
slashers.
The Freddy versus Jason versus Ash script online. You can go read it. It's out there. Yeah, it's not great, but
what would have been great is Freddy versus Ash, but you don't see Freddy. You just see Bruce Campbell from the outside having the dream.
That would be good, actually. Yeah, and he's just in bed going,
yeah, freaking out. Because the best scenes are just Bruce Campbell freaking out on his own in a room, right? So
it's true. Yeah. Maybe they should have done Freddy versus Pinhead because they have similar gimmicks, don't they?
Yeah. I think what works here is that they don't have the same gimmick.
Yeah.
So it is like a clash.
Freddy's gimmick is that he manipulates your dreams, and Jason's gimmick is he just stabs you.
Fucks you up with a knife, yeah.
Yeah, he just hits you with a big knife.
That's where they got the quote-unquote plot for this movie, right?
Yeah.
I do like the amount of plot they try to put in because nobody cares. The people in the movie don't even care. Why would they?
I think it's essentially just a parade of fan service, and it works very well in that respect. Like everything is sort of indebted to the original. Mostly the Nightmare movies. It's much more of a Nightmare movie.
It's like
Jason
a Nightmare movie where Jason's
Yeah.
thrown in as the latest scheme.
Jason is also here. We haven't even mentioned the Freddy pillar, the stoned Freddy pillar who smokes a big blunt.
Yeah, he fucking Alice in Wonderland shit CGI caterpillar Freddy. Incredible.
Amazing film.
And I'd watched Alice in Wonderland the previous night, so I was like really confused. the not the one with Alan Rickman, that was fun too, but yeah. I mean that the Rickman part was fun, not the 2010 movie. That sucked, but I liked Rick, So I was kind of thinking of Alan Rickman as Freddy Krueger, and that was kind of fun too.
Different vibe, but could have worked.
Yeah,
that would be really. I'd really like that actually.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the catches from this movie.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
Welcome to my nightmare.
Welcome to prime time.
Oh, that was good.
Thank you. I was basing it on the Family Guy impersonation of Alan Rickman, to be honest.
That's what Luke and my coworker Maddie was saying yesterday. He's like, I can't do impressions. I can just do impressions of other people's impressions. I'm like, well, he was trying to do, what was it? Oh, he's trying to do a Christopher Walken to himself, but it sounded more like Dustin Hoffman after
usually
having, like, a seizure.
You're talking about Matty, I presume.
Yeah.
Usually his Christopher Walken's like scarily good.
Okay, yesterday it sounded like a glitching Dustin Hoffman.
Okay.
And he was doing it to himself, kind of like how you do the Connery. So he was just in a room trying to walking around. I tried to do my own, and I failed miserably. I don't know.
Walking around at the speed of sound.
What was he saying? It's like you have to whisper and shout at the same time to do a walking properly.
I can't believe you've put a Sonic reference in this podcast. It was good until you did that. Honestly.
I was busy there thinking about the machinations of a Christopher Walken impression, but I don't think I can do that many impressions anyway. I'm not an impression guy. Yeah.
Nah.
Here's my impression of Freddy Krueger. Okay. Hi, I'm Freddy Krueger. Oh, sorry, that wasn't very good.
Oh, is Robert Englund in the call?
I'm going to praise something else about this movie.
Go ahead.
When Jason goes into his dream, there is like genuinely quite appealing like use of color, reds, greens. Like the whole screen is just like completely saturated reds or saturated green, saturated blue. It's all just surprisingly what's the word, visually interesting. There was really no need for this. Now I hate to be this kind of Luddite like I always am, but nowadays they just would not bother doing this, so I liked it a lot. This was made by someone who wanted to make the most interesting, entertaining possible movie while not sacrificing any of the pace or anything. It's just this short, stupid, it's great. I love it. Freddy with his arms getting cut off and they just spring back out of the wounds again.
Yes.
Fantastic. Then he calls Jason a wanker.
Yep. Got his hand back so he can make a wanker sign.
Beautiful.
I really enjoyed, and it's such an obvious thing to do, but Freddy going at Jason with his own machete and then Jason stabbing Freddy with his own arm.
Yeah, it's a beautiful finale, basically.
Did they just do it?
And then I went for a second to the final shot of the film. I thought, has Jason gone to heaven? Are they trying to say he's redeemed himself? Because I think he's killed too many people for like taking out Freddy to redeem him. But no, I don't think that's what's happened. They were just at a nice beach somewhere.
No, unfortunately, that's how it works. He prayed once and he was absolved of all his sins. And
his final breath.
That's how it works. Yeah, with his final breath, he said, "I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior." Yes.
That's all that's needed. Yep.
Oh, okay. We also haven't talked about the bit where Freddy starts flinging Jason around like a pinball and actual pinball sounds
music,
start playing.
Yes.
And then he goes, tilt. What a silly film.
Yeah. So, do you think anyone exists who watched this film and was scared?
I made some jump scare notes because the first one I was like, that's nothing. And then, there's one they do the one where it's just the guy saying, "Hey, what's up?" Right, and then they make that into an actual jump scare. I mean,
I mean, when I saw this, I was like a massive pussy and probably about 13 or 14. So yeah, I was probably scared
Okay.
when I saw it. Like the scene in the police station, I can imagine would have scared me at the time because I didn't really watch horror films. I was just trying to start liking it. This might have been the first horror film I ever watched, actually.
I was in movie theater by myself. There's bumps. There's a sound system, right? That'll do a
Yeah.
little bit.
I had the
But I
movie
mean,
theater to myself for Nope this weekend. That was pretty amazing.
oh, that does sound pretty cool. You can just masturbate as much as you want, shit everywhere, piss, like scream racial slurs, like attack the screen with scissors. You can do anything.
The height of my luxury is I got to keep my mask off as I enjoyed my snacks.
Yeah, your hockey mask. Hey,
Yeah, I always wear a hockey
like the
mask
film,
for the film.
like the film.
Oh,
another. We need. I know that this whole podcast is me remembering amazing parts from this film.
I think that's all anyone wanted from a Freddy vs. Jason podcast.
What about the bit where? What about the bit where they're going to do like CPR? They're going to do like mouth to mouth on Jason. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, pointless, gross out scene. It's hilarious.
I mean, just as classic slasher movie shit, they do such a good job of making you hate someone right before they kill him. A boyfriend at the start. Well, what a class A cunt.
Yeah, he's a prick.
But like perfect prick. Like I've never wanted someone to get murked more than that. And he did.
They got properly murked.
They could have like not killed him and had him go through. They could have had him be like the lone survivor. How would that have played with you?
I mean, I would have hated it, but I would have massively respected the balls on it. To just give you the most loathsome character ever and make them survive would be pretty funny.
That would.
I also really laughed at Kelly Rowland getting like a big hero moment at the end, and then Jason just appearing behind her and destroying her.
Oh, that scene's hilarious. That always that's like the one part of the film that properly makes me wince is when she gets thrown into just this tiny like, what is it, like a coat? I don't even know what it is, like a door hanger or something. It's just horrible.
Oh yeah. No, that's the boy.
It's the only upsetting death in the whole movie. And I was like, oh no, she was Destiny's Child. We'll never have a reunion now that Kelly Rowland has been killed.
Didn't they make an album with like 3 people after this? Maybe that's why.
I thought there were only 3 in Destiny's Child.
There were 4 at one point.
Whoa! We were talking about how you can't remember the 3rd one. I genuinely didn't remember the 4th one.
I had a picture with all 4 of them, man.
Whoa.
Oh man, I have got their albums around here somewhere, but I can't find them to prove or deny this.
Yeah, no, I'm in the frame. I didn't keep the picture. That's a problem that there's like stand there every other week and you don't keep that stuff. It wasn't digital yet. I would have had to actually make a copy. So I'll just have to break into the University of Georgia archives and find it.
Is this your Mandela effect moment, Matt? That you remembered the 4th Destiny's Child member that didn't exist in our world?
Could I make a bold suggestion?
Go ahead.
Is it possible that you've confused yourself for one of the members of Destiny's Child?
I am from Atlanta.
Is it possible that you are a member of Destiny's Child?
Are you
the 4th member? 4th member.
Okay, well, we can actually prove this. Now, we are going to need to see your rear end to determine whether or not it is bootylicious or otherwise.
No, sorry, my shorts and my t-shirt don't match. I can't put them on screen.
I've been to Onsense with Matt, so I've seen his ass.
Am I bootylicious?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, there we go. That explains everything.
I'm from Atlanta.
And I personally, I want to move on from this because I'm personally not ready for this jelly. That's how that song went, isn't it?
I believe that was one. Yeah.
I do remember that all of the background vocals were canned and the leads were sung live except for the hits, which were also lip synced because I was actually standing at the soundboard and saw what was happening. So that's when I lost my faith in concerts.
That's why you destroyed the picture. You're like, you guys are phonies.
That's why Matt quit Destiny's Child.
Yeah. It's like, this isn't real enough for me. I'm going to go and be a rapper on SoundCloud.
there's a lot there's a lot of I want to get some face tattoos and rap. Uh they're mumbo rap. They're yeah. Now they did have a lot of choreography, so it would have been difficult to sing and do all the choreography they were doing. So, you have to decide what takes precedence, I suppose. So if you're really into dancing, then it was like a very hip act. That's why I quit. I can't dance. That's it.
Also because you use words like hip.
Come on, come on, cool cats. Let's get hip with the R&B jams.
Yeah, you walked
That's what
in,
they
you're
call
like, hey,
stage
girls,
manager.
I've got a great idea for a song. It's about doing whatever your husband tells you.
Matt's like all the actors in this film, in that he is not as young as he's pretending to be.
And that's like all the actors in this film, and that he's flawless.
Oh, there you go.
Am I gonna get murdered in this podcast?
I'm afraid so.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I did like, there was one scene near the start where she's talking about she was with her boyfriend when she was 14. But I briefly thought they were trying to tell me these actors were supposed to be 14 in the film.
No.
And I was like,
no.
fuck off. They're not even 18.
Mind that bit when Freddy is right before he kills Destiny's Child. He says, and this is his words, not mine. He says, "How sweet, dark meat," and I'm
Oh
like,
my God, yeah.
and I'm like, oh, what? I liked Freddy until he was racist. Like, what's going on now? Like, that's just I was so on board with everything he was doing, and now this.
Yeah,
Horrible. What a horrible man.
That's a cancel moment.
Yeah, Freddy
killing,
Krueger, killing and raping hundreds of children.
that's what
I
Freddy
mean,
Krueger does.
children, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But
Murdering people in their dreams, setting them on fire, turning them into macabre living puppets, whatever. But this being a racist, absolutely not happening. Not on my watch, no sir. Freddy, you're banned from my Discord and my subreddit.
What's all about, like what is your natural point? Like if the tiger that sounded like a tiger. If the tiger attacks you,
It was like a dab sneeze. I loved it.
Also,
dabbed and sneezed.
I went through a period of deliberately dab sneezing to annoy people, and I've accidentally trained my body to automatically dab when I sneeze.
That's awesome. I love it.
I got in trouble in elementary school because I had, as a joke, kept sneezing shit, and then I was just like doing it like every time I sneezed. I should get back in that habit. It's fun.
Hey, remember that bit in the movie where Jason, they're in that burning cabin by the lake. Jason picks up Freddy, fucks him through a window, and then just runs through the cabin, dragging him through all of the windows. Good scene. Just want to say that's a good scene.
That's how he shows his personality. It's different than most people.
Quite a lot of stuff happens in the movie, I have to say. That there's a remarkable amount of events transpiring. Set pieces. It's just one set piece after another. It's just a ride. What a cliched thing to say. It's just a roller coaster ride of a movie. It's a put that
but
on
that's
the DVD.
definitely how it was made, right? Just we want this scene, we want this scene, we want this scene. How does it fit together? I don't give a shit.
I mean, we hadn't had a proper slasher movie really for years when this came out because, Scream was a few years before reinventing the slasher genre into this meta thing where it's not so much about the quality of the kills as how meta we're being, The last Elm Street was New Nightmare, pretty good, but that was 96, I think. And before that, I think you have to go back to like 92.
I think wasn't Jason X. Wasn't Jason X the year before this though?
It was pretty recent.
It was. I think it may have been 2001, so 2 years before, but I might be wrong about that.
Okay.
That was kind of. Yeah, that was kind of weird outlier, but the the general strain of horror movies had gotten very meta by this point. So we need one where we just have like some classy kills with that's not.
I mean, if there's one word I would use to describe this film, I think it is classy.
Yeah, same, exactly the same. I've put it on with no sound, like to remind myself of some of the bits. And there's a really great bit at the end where they're on the construction site and Freddy just shouts, "Hey, asshole," at Jason.
Yeah.
and then drops loads of rods on him like he thinks he's in the Omen or something.
Yeah, that's the bit that totally, because at that point you're basically rooting for Jason. He's the good guy in the film at that point.
It's completely Looney Tunes.
But then he's literally Terminator 2. So he has to pull a pipe out of himself to go and fight the baddie again.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say it's more like there's like two coyotes and there's no real road runner. I mean, I guess Jason.
Oh yeah, all the human characters are road runners, and they're just there to get killed by these two coyotes.
The road runner never gets killed.
It's more itchy and scratchy, I guess, because you do get to see the gory deaths over and over.
Actually, the Roadrunner does get caught in one of the shorts.
Yeah, not one.
You get to see it like plucked and roasted and eaten.
There's like really Chuck Jones made very specific rules for the Roadrunner. One of which being that the Roadrunner can't even get off the road. He has to stay on the road because how would you know he's a Roadrunner if he's on the road?
It's true.
Yeah.
And he has to run. That was the other rule.
It was, and the coyote had to do everything to himself. You know, there's some like 12 rules for these animations. So, I guess eventually they had the Roadrunner get caught, but that was probably in the 90s or something.
No, it was in the short called Soup or Sonic, and it was from 1980.
80. See,
and what happens is
30-year-old rules.
Wiley catches him, but in the process of doing so, using this sort of Acme business as he is wont to do, he's shrunk himself down so he's much smaller than a Roadrunner. And he holds up a sign that says, "Okay, wise guys, you always wanted me to catch him. Now what do I do?"
That's really
it's about as funny as it sounds.
Yeah. Talking about things getting too meta. I just want to see, physical harm befall a dog.
I'm still
I don't need any clever jokes. It's a coyote's kind of a dog, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
you just want to see a dog getting hurt.
Yeah.
Just jump on the dark web, search for dogs getting hurt.
I will not.
You'll find a whole a symphony of canine catastrophes.
You used to have to go to a weird guy and buy VHSs if you want to see dogs getting hurt, but now,
Dogs Getting Hurt volume. Dogs Getting Hurt Volume 1, Alsatian through Chow.
I would find it like genuinely very upsetting to watch real dogs getting hurt.
Depends how they're getting hurt. If they're getting hurt in a way that's like upsetting, but if they're getting hurt in a funny way, maybe.
I guess if it's like dogs running into a glass window because they can't tell, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and then getting cut to pieces. Is that funny? Is that funny to you, Luke?
Yeah. Lacerations are a big comedy for me.
And a dog going, ow, ow.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Like a dog, like getting hurt is horrible. I love dogs. I don't want any dogs to get hurt. But a dog that just maybe like a big house fell on it or something, or it exploded, that might be quite funny.
I think it's fine to do that.
Like a 10-ton weight
dog. Maybe that's the point. It's got to be a cartoon dog.
Well, let's imagine like a little Jack Russell, or like not a Jack Russell, they're too cute, like a Chihuahua or something, and like a cartoon, a massive anvil falls on it. You don't see anything; it's just gone.
I did like it when the snake swallowed the Chihuahua in Snakes on the Plane. To be fair,
I feel like you're supposed to punt the tiny dog, cartoon dog. Like an animal.
That's what Garfield likes to do, doesn't he? He likes to punt Odie off the table.
Anchorman punting the dog was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was quite funny. Just because of the way he said, "Guess what? Now this is happening." That cracked me up.
That is good shit.
Has it been long enough now that Anchorman is now funny again? Like, is it okay to quote Anchorman?
I think so.
Oh, can I praise another thing in Freddy vs. Jason?
Please, I was about to say this has just become us praising other films. So
back to Freddy vs. Jason. When the girl and the final girl and her boyfriend are like cowering on the dock, and you see the machete, and it pans up to reveal that it's Freddy. That's a really cool reveal. Good. Yeah, it's a really cool reveal.
That's a multitasking. Hey, I can use other kinds of knives too. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Freddy's very creative with his. He's the most creative with his deaths. What am I talking about?
Well, he's like, fuck having one knife. I've made a knife hand. I just pop that on. Voila, 5 knives. Now, how do you like me now?
5 knives at Freddy's.
Nice. Yeah.
That's the one joke for the episode.
Okay.
It's a good one though.
You could that would be good for like an embroidery, I think. Put it on your wall.
When Final Girl shouts "Welcome to my world, bitch" at Freddy, and he's looking at her, he's thinking cringe.
Probs.
Yeah.
Is are you testing your TikToks on us?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've only ever used TikTok to look at videos of dogs getting hurt. So I mean, and Robert Englund, obviously. Call back to whatever the joke was from earlier. I don't even remember.
I hadn't realized until because we very recently did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie on this podcast.
Oh dear!
I hadn't realized how much Ivan Ooze is just fully ripping off Freddy Krueger that whole film.
Yeah,
he even says "Welcome to my nightmare."
Really?
Yeah.
Good God!
And then Tommy does a karate kick on him and says, "Welcome to my nightmare."
Remember when he pulls Trini's like veins out of her foot and moves her around like a puppet? That's a weird scene, isn't it?
Yeah. When he eviscerates the Blue Ranger.
Power now.
Yo, what exactly was happening with the ginger kid? He had like what?
His brother had the Freddy dreams, so he also had to be locked up, so we couldn't tell anyone about it.
Oh no, I'm talking about what the fuck was going on with his feet when he's getting murdered.
Oh, he was just getting tied to the floor.
The veins got pulled. Oh yeah, he's getting veined to the ground.
That bit had a lot of snakes, Matt. How are you with that?
What about the snakes?
Did they bother you?
Were they on a plane?
What
What's your problem with snakes? They're good. They're just like dogs with low legs.
Well, it's snakes make Matt think about his own very, very inadequate penis.
Yeah. Also, when I worked in South Carolina, I
solidarity, my friend.
Take kids on hikes and they would just fall out of trees. Like I'd be walking by a tree.
Oh, the kids?
And flop, there's a snake. Kids and snakes, yeah.
Yeah, a sky friend. That's what you call them, sky friend.
And then I'd get like 1 a.m. calls, and then we'd all have to go and get like a snake out of the kids' dorm, and that's not fun.
You didn't have to get the snake out of the kid.
You get 1 a.m. calls, and it's the snake, and the snake's just like, "Hey, what are you thinking about?"
Hello?
Please stop calling me. This was a one-time thing. Please stop calling me.
Then I wouldn't have to have gone anywhere. That would have been great. I could have just stayed in bed.
I have some bad news.
You got it.
It's the problem with snakes. You go on one date with them and they're just calling you.
Yeah. and then you make the snake pregnant and then you got to deal with that. Oh boy.
Yep.
Best way to deal with that, chop them in half with an axe.
Yeah. Problem solved.
Is that top death then? What's your number one?
Top death in this film?
Deaths.
Yeah.
Oh, best death in this film. Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about.
And you can't choose the clips at the beginning. That's not.
No. One from this film. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of have to give it to the Jay from Jay and Silent Bob getting fully bisected in one swipe. To be honest,
I think it's the one that goes through the dude and the girl, and then he lifts the dude up and flings him,
and he just throws him into the sky. Yeah, that is very funny.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I honestly, it probably is the J one, but folding bed is pretty good. I like that because that's you don't want your bed to fold on you. That's everyone's nightmare.
It's a carousel. That's my greatest fear. That is my greatest fear.
Oh wait,
my bed folding on me.
Well, it doesn't count because this is actually when Jason and Freddy are at it. But I just have a note here. It says, "Yeah, Caro syrup aortal spray." I was pretty excited about that. Then the next, make it gory, yo. That's my next line. So
I will say all three of us just chose a Jason kill for our favorite kill.
Mm-hmm.
So that shows how well this film.
Freddy doesn't have much in the way of good kills in this movie. He just doesn't. It's a shame.
Yeah. Freddy's brains, not brawn. He'll kill through some other method, but sometimes you just want to see someone get split in half, right? So
yeah.
Hey Jason, I'm your mom. Kill people now. Jason's like, okay. Freddy's just like chess master.
I mean, I can be on the page like, yeah, I'm definitely a Freddy guy, but still be like, like obviously Jason has his place or he wouldn't be here.
Well, it's funny to me that Freddy just says things like, "Hey, asshole."
We should just be like
dick.
that.
Everyone should be more like Freddy in every sense. Agreed.
Yes, we should. Yeah, we should all quip at each other all the time, like in offensive ways.
Yeah, and kill and murder children.
But do we supposed to consider how this movie's? We do the does the movie hold up question a lot, but I mean that doesn't really count for this.
Yeah,
This is like a gemstone of horror, you know, a blood gem.
of course it holds up. How can it possibly date in any respect? It's just two twats hitting each other with knives, and it's great.
Well,
Yeah.
there are the dodgy couple of CGI shots. Like they kind of
That's
recreate the
true.
shadow thing from the first movie, but in the first movie it's done all like interestingly, and this one it's like shit CGI. So
But thankfully, because it's been shot on film like an actual movie should have been, and always never is anymore, it still looks like a movie. So that kind of helps cover up some of its
Yeah, I
deficiencies.
didn't think the shadow bit looked that bad. The caterpillar looks obviously fucking awful,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
also it's just a big dumb joke, so I didn't care.
There is some bad CGI blood, but there's also some pretty good squibs. So yeah, solid stuff. Like
Uh,
Jason pulling the poles out of his body and just blood puking everywhere. It's very funny.
okay, well,
exactly.
maybe a more interesting question than does this hold up? Where does this fit in like the hierarchy of great crossovers?
God, it's up there. I
Yeah,
mean,
because like Alien vs Predator disappointed.
Yeah.
I
I
would
mean,
say
yeah, very weak.
both the Kong and Godzilla crossovers have been great.
I quite like Godzilla versus Kong. Yeah.
Yeah.
The most excited. I was one of the most. I was just getting a huge kick out of Kong pulling Mechagodzilla's head off
Yeah,
at the
yep,
end,
yep.
just and roaring. It's just very cool.
Yeah. Like this film, it just delivered what you want. I want
I
these two
think,
monsters to go
but
at it.
I think we can all collectively agree that the greatest crossover movie of all time is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, which crosses over with all the other Kevin Smith movies and Good Will Hunting.
and
No,
has
I don't. I
George
don't really.
Carlin as a blowjob
Yeah.
peddling bum. That's good.
Have you guys
Um,
done that movie? Is that sci-fi? I think it technically is sci-fi.
it's been quite a long time since I've seen it, so I'd have to revisit that.
I mean, we would have to do
Cracks
Tusk
me
before
up.
we did that in the Kevin
Oh
Smith.
boy.
I mean, we just
Well,
we
let's not give Kevin Smith any more attention. He's had quite enough.
Yeah.
I mean we just
And
did
I
Beavis
consider
and Butthead and
myself
called that sci-fi.
I consider myself a Kevin Smith fan, and I'm absolutely fed up with him now.
There were obviously
Clerks 3 indeed. So sit down, Smith.
there was all the Universal crossovers back in the day.
Oh yeah, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Yeah.
What about that movie where they put all the Marvel characters into the same movie and you get to see them all in the same movie?
Oh,
Oh
I love
yeah,
it. Oh, he held the hammer. Oh.
yeah. They're like, sorry, are you
I'm
telling me?
taking the
Are you
piss. I
telling
did
me that
genuinely love that at the time, but
are you telling me that I'm going to see the famous Hawkeye?
That's right. On screen with other characters. It's not just him. It's not a solo
Well,
movie.
none of you have mentioned a very fine crossover, and of course that is Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
oh, good one. Yep,
Oh,
yep.
okay. That is a little left field. That's a pretty high time crossover. Yeah.
Because
Mm.
that doesn't seem impressive now in the age of fucking Ready Player One or whatever. But that was made back when it actually was a feat to get those companies to work together.
Is Ready
And like,
Player One
isn't
your
it?
favorite crossover?
Fuck you. Like, doesn't Roger Rabbit like down to the point that they literally have to share the exact same number of frames between like the two ducks and between Mickey
Yeah,
Mouse and Rod?
because the
Probably
That's
crossover to
funny.
that
something,
movie is
probably
with the
something
lawyers.
absolutely ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Other crossovers. Okay.
Well, the thing is, I guess recently there was Glass. Does that count?
But that's more in the like it was always the same.
Mm,
See, yeah, that fits into what I'm talking about, the newer version of a crossover where it's like they're
yeah.
trying to build a shared universe from the start. Whereas I'm talking about the old classic, like this
yeah.
is where it's just this thing's cool. We'd love it if they met.
I think
What about
Go ahead.
the Flintstones and WWE Stone Age SmackDown?
Oh, that's and yeah. Didn't they do a Scooby Doo
They did
goes
a
to
Scooby-Doo one
SmackDown
as
as
well,
well?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also do the Jetsons and WWE Robo WrestleMania. Yeah.
Incredible.
I watched that with a friend, and I'm not saying this for shock value. I promise you this is true. But Big Show enacts a second Holocaust in that film.
Jesus Christ.
He has the death camps. He has like Big Show death camps. It's insane. I can't remember if that actually happens or if I made it up for a joke.
For fuck's sake.
I'm reasonably certain it happens that he has like camps though.
Well, in this movie, when
Where's
Caterpillar,
the big show?
I can't believe that happened at the same time. Amazing.
when Caterpillar Freddy shows up in this movie, in my mind, I seem to have remembered the Scooby Gang actually like showing up and murdering him, which that would have been better. Like, because this first live action Scooby Doo movies around the same period, so maybe they were at the same studio. I don't know that at all, but that would have been fun.
But prior to this, the last major crossover was probably Rugrats Go Wild, in which the Rugrats met up with the Wild Thornberrys, both from Klasky Csupo.
Wait, no, I am crossing gears
with
with Jay and Silent Bob again, because don't they end up getting in a van with a Scooby gang or something?
Yeah, in Jay and Silent Bob Straight Back. And plus, it's worth noting they were in Scream 2 or 3 as well.
Uh-huh.
They turned up in one of those. That's a Wes Craven connection.
I remember. Yeah.
The great unmade crossover is RoboCop versus Terminator.
At least the Mega Drive.
It got the game, but never the film. Yeah,
it was a great game though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we only have Star Trek and X-Men crossover in comic book form, unfortunately.
My favorite moment in that is when the two Dr. McCoys meet.
Oh right, yeah, that's fun. But yeah, that would just be an ape shit movie of some kind. Especially, yeah, I don't know. Crossovers in general probably a bad idea. You think not this one, but in general, you think you want it till you get it, right?
Yeah. What about Space Jam: A New Legacy? That's like the new style of crossover.
Yeah, that's basically Ready Player One Part 2, right?
You
want to see?
It's like we have lots of IPs.
We got Daffy Duck, we got Rick and Morty, we got the Droogs rapists from A Clockwork Orange. Can't believe that happened.
Kingdom Hearts started as the good kind of crossover because it's just Disney and Final Fantasy,
and then it turns into the greatest series of games.
They added in all the other things that Disney owns.
Did you know that?
I mean, it stays incredible. I'm not arguing that, but
one of my favorite games of all time is Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Between Two.
Nice. I've got that in a box ready for me to play because I'm working my way through the series now.
It's so good. It's so good. And the reason it's good is because it's bad. Get that round you.
Oh, I see. Mate. It's Stuart. Get that round your head, mate. Okay.
No, it's I'm not plugging it, but I have a book I've done of games writing, and the absolute longest chapter by some distance is the Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Between Two chapter, because it's just me gushing about how amazing it is. So look forward to that.
Well, you're not plugging that, but what do you want to plug, Stu?
That, I guess, when it gets announced properly. I got a comic called Merry Hell. Please read it. merryhellcomic.com.
Since you last appeared on this podcast, I have read like 300 issues of that. So
cheers. And laughed so hard that your side split.
I laugh sometimes. It's mostly just nice.
It's quite gentle, isn't it? Yeah, there's a lot of horniness in it. Sorry. Oh yeah, I also do the podcast Retronauts as well, with Jeremy Parish and such. And I do the Dillcast with my friends Gobbler, Tula, and Grizz, where we read every single we review every single Dillbook comic ever, one at a time. And
we've ended up
destroy our own lives, basically.
We've ended up with that kind of tone. This is more of a Dillcast tone episode today, where we've just bounced all over the place.
Well, I haven't slept for 2 days. It's gone 11 in the evening, and you know what? This is what you're getting. This is what you're getting. I'm very sorry for that.
I don't think anyone wanted anything else from a Freddy versus Jason podcast.
Yeah,
if someone was expecting like deep analysis and we're going to talk about the background of getting it made and shit, this isn't that podcast, my friends.
Yeah, everyone's like, where's this incredibly in-depth analysis of the sequence in which Freddy throws Jason around and then says tilt?
Well, that girl's dad resembles Dr. Ewan Cameron, who in the 60s was psychic driving people, putting them into comas and playing them tapes for months, and they made the dad in this movie him. That's deep.
That's pretty deep. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Here's something that's also kind of deep. Jason, if he stabs you, you would die. Think about that.
Whoa, that's a scary thought.
Boom.
Well, it's because it's a foreign.
Did you know that in the film Freddy versus Jason, Jason kills people with a knife. A knife can't kill you if it stabs you.
It's more of
Did you
a
get those? Did you get that
machete.
shit recommended to you on YouTube?
Well, hang on. Let's think about this though. The first thing you see in the movie is a pair of tits and a sexy naked lady, right?
Mm.
But then she gets stabbed through a tree. Now, does that make the pen? Does that mean the machete is a substitute for the penis? Think about that.
And Kelly Rowland literally says that in this film.
Yeah, the subtext becomes text.
Yeah. So
But-
really, that this film is genius.
Yeah,
Right.
She goes, "Wow, you're a racist, and also you've got a small cock."
Yep. Speak
Well, I
speak
think
truth
there's only
to
one
power.
thing. I think there's only one thing left to do, but to look at the trivia section on IMDb and make fun of it.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Goofs. In this film, it's revealed. Oh, I've lost it. Oh no, this is terrible. In this film, it is revealed that Jason has deep fear of water. However,
Makes
oh no,
sense.
I've lost it again. This is awful. Why is this website so bad? Who made this?
You want a shitty mobile version?
Why is IMDb so crap? It's a disaster.
Because it's just a small website. No one has heard of it.
It's continuity errors. When Shaq is talking to his teammate about it, oh yeah, that's a great bit actually. I was going to mention that when he throws the Everclear on Jason, sets him on fire, he inexplicably gains this two-handed flaming torch that he didn't have before. It just appears in his hands. It's great.
Oh yeah, he does.
He just
That was
out of
nowhere
nowhere,
near the
he's just like,
scene.
ah! It's hilarious. I don't even if it is the continuity, I'm glad they left it in because they knew it was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, legends, absolute legends.
You don't need the continuity officer on this kind of film because that would just screw it up, really.
I've got a good factual error for you here, though. This is actually good. Freddy is shown knocking off the valve of a pressurized cylinder, which will cause it to launch like a rocket. But pressurized tanks are never stored without the valve body protected by a screw-on cap. Fun scene otherwise. Imagine being the person who wrote that.
Someone's really fucking into. Well, he's got a pressurized cylinder selling business. Doesn't want people thinking they're going to torpedo around the place. Whereas if I was buying pressurized cylinders, I would specifically want to be able to torpedo them at people. Be disappointed if I couldn't.
Oh,
In
yeah,
this film, it is revealed that Jason has a deep fear of water. However, in both Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, and Friday the 13th Part 7, the new blood, he has no problem attacking characters from underneath water. Back to the drawing board, I think, filmmakers. I did that last bit myself.
Oh, disappointing.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, this isn't TV tropes. IMDb is serious business.
When they are researching Hypnosil on the internet, we see a picture of the Hypnosil bottle reading Hypnosil, 500 milligrams, 1,000 tab. We also see Hypnosil pills lying beside the bottle. Considering the size of the pills, the bottle could never contain 1,000 pills, not even close to 100 pills.
Wasn't that in a dream? At around 3 minutes, the position of the girl's shirt after she flashes the camera and before she jumps into the lake. Hey, I wasn't looking at the shirt.
She does inexplicably run in such a way that her tit goes back into her shirt.
Very disappointing.
Oh yeah.
Gravity's a hell of a thing, especially in movies.
So I think we can all just like collectively agree that this is the best movie that you've ever covered on this podcast, right?
It's up there.
Yeah, yeah, sure, why not? I can always change my mind later if I find a better movie.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Hey Luke, I guess we were plugging and we got distracted again.
If you like this
do
podcast, we're on Twitter at MLSFS Pod. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you like the music you hear in this episode, you genuinely can find Matt at rovingsagemedia.bandcamp.com. I don't think he has a SoundCloud, but he probably should.
I didn't hear any music. This is bullshit.
Well, we don't do it live. It gets piped in like Destiny's Child.
It's very lazy of you.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt. I should make Matt get his guitar out and play it every single episode. At 6 a.m. with his family sleeping in the house.
They get up early. They were already up when I went and got my water.
Wow, nerds.
Yeah.
And if you ever considered doing a version of She Sells Sanctuary but changing it to Sci-Fi Sanctuary? I'm sure you've thought of that already.
Wait, one more time.
Seashell Sanctuary.
You know the song "She Sells Sanctuary." Everyone, it's a very famous song. Well, you should change the lyrics for it to Sci-Fi Sanctuary.
Sci-Fi Sanctuary.
Yeah, it's by The Cult. It's by The Cult.
Oh, okay.
And it's a very famous song, and I think you should copy it for humor value. Anyway, sorry I keep interrupting with my drivel. I'm really sorry.
And if you want to find more podcasts that me and Matt make and maybe throw us some cash, go to patreon.com/podcastio, where you can find such delights as Matt's Twilight Zone podcast, Time Enough podcast. You can find Luke Loves Pokemon and Monster Mash. And you can find Game Show, a game show about games, where we try and replicate the British panel show kind of humor, but it's mostly just 4 British guys swearing at each other.
Oh, I want to go on that.
Oh, you should totally come on that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're invited. We'll talk about it sometime.
Give them some money, you cheap cunts.
You don't have to. It covers the costs. And
no, you have to.
Oh yeah. We're going to start putting this behind a paywall. You'll get the 5 minutes at the start where we insult the Queen, and you have to pay for the rest.
Put your hands in your pockets for once, for Christ's sake. Like, how much is it cheap for Christ? It's like less than a sandwich, probably. Just give them the money.
But put your hand in the pocket with the money, not the hand that you usually put your hand pocket. Usually, put your hand to play with your dick.
Oh yeah, with the secret.
You do both. You can play your dick with your left hand while you pay us money with your right hand. That's fine.
I have to be holding money, or I can't come.
Do we?
Oh, that was another bit I liked in this film when she's like, You mean you're not coming? And then Freddy turns around and you're like, he's going to say some shit. It was not my fault this bitch is dead on her feet.
That's hilarious. It's so gross.
But I would have preferred it if he just turned around and been like, actually, I am coming.
I'm coming. Come out of my dick, bitch.
You think he has a knife for a dick, too?
The friction on my penis has stimulated me into orgasm, bitch.
I could cut it there. I was just gonna do Alan Rickman, "Welcome to My Nightmare," bitch, but that was gonna be a bad impression.
What if Freddy?
The friction on my penis is making me come.
Imagine. I've got a good gag to go. I've got a classic goat to go out on. Great Jape. Ready? Imagine if Freddy Krueger, yeah. Well, if you accidentally had a wank with a knife glove. Oh, whoops. Check, please.
You should get a job at a Mad Magazine with gags like that.
Yeah. Ouchie department.
That's a real zinger.
Yeah. He'd be like, that's not what I wanted to happen.
I think secretly it is what you wanted to happen. I think he loves that shit.
Okay, somewhere there's a cut in there where I'll cut it. Even after I said it once, and that's probably before I cut it. So yeah. It's shop talk.
I want to go on the British man swearing at each other show. That sounds like what I just do normally.
All right.
The question is, do you want to be a contestant or a guy who makes quizzes, I guess? Is that the right question?
Do you get to swear? Which ones of us get to swear?
We constantly swear.
Brilliant. It was fun. I enjoyed that. I'm sorry if I was low energy, but I thought that was actually quite a funny thing overall.
Oh yeah, I think that was, like I said, I think if anyone was wanting a podcast about Freddy versus Jason, that's what they got.
Yeah. I mean, who's doing? Someone's doing a dissertation on it, I'm sure, but some people are boring.
Well, the only thing someone might have wanted that we didn't give is genuinely a podcast about like the fucking journey to getting this made. But that's not us.
No, I didn't watch the special features. I couldn't actually. I have a DVD, but I guess I left it in America. Oops.
Whoops.
Because this was a New Line. Actually, had a lot of cool special features. Not that I've put on a special feature in years, but they have them. So
I was watching the Planet of the Apes special features the other week. It's the first Blu-ray I've bought in like 5 years.
Which was the original?
Yeah. We slowly started waking our way through, so we've done the original and Beneath.
Oh yeah, I found that box set. It's an old box set on Blu-ray with like the 5 or whatever movies for like £1 in a charity shop, and I was like, yes,
nice.
Someone had also traded in, or not traded in, but just given him like the thing, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm having that as well."
Oh, great!
Good times. Hey, do you want to hear a horrible fact about? No, actually, that can wait for another one. That we can put off for a year. Sorry,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I
I
really
guess
apologize for being so absent.
it's fine. I think this turned out better than whatever we were going to say about Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you. I didn't want to rewatch Spider-Man 3.
Well, it's like I thought we'd be doing a ton of superhero films when we started this podcast, and there's really not much to
Yeah,
talk
we did
about
like 3
so
superhero
far.
films and realized we'd run out of stuff to say about them. Like we were doing
Like,
Spider-Man 2, which I genuinely think is one of the best films ever made. And it's
I
like
love
one of our
Spider-Man
shortest
2, yeah.
episodes because we're just like, yeah, it's good in it. He does Spider-Man things.
he swings around and shit. Yeah.
I think Spider-Man 2 is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupendous.
But it turns out to be not a very good conversation starter. Okay, I guess I'm actually gonna go for a nap time.
I'm gonna go for a run.
Oh, okay. The two opposite approaches to life. That's cool.
I'm gonna go for 2 runs. I win.
What
At
a legend.
11:30.